Hi Best Buds, it's Cathy with Cathy's Garden, and I'm so happy that you've joined me today. Today is hashtag cathysowinghappiness, in which we'll have our drawing at the end of the video. But first, let's have our shout out to Vicki, Diane, Christine, Melody, Judy, Holly, Grove Journals, and Kim. I appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, you guys, so get a little book page out. Mine's pretty small. It's not that large at all. And what I'd like to do is just trim so all I see are words. So I'm just going to trim around the words, and I will give you the dimensions in just a minute when I get finished trimming this right here. And we're done. So this is a little past 3.5 and 5.5. 3.5 by 5.5. So now what I'm going to do is something kind of different. I am going to use some matte acrylic paint. These are very inexpensive at the craft store or at Walmart. And I'm just going to place some of this paint, well, thought it was ready to come out, right here on my brush. Just a little dab will do ya. And I'm going to smoosh it onto my words. You can still see your words as you do this. I still have the paint on this side. I'm just letting it kind of come down, and I'm smoothing it out. And that's just a word. Who knows if it really is a word? I don't think it is. I'm just using it. Y'all know what that means. Just spread it around so that you can still see the words through it. Now, it's not really gesso, but it's paint, and it works just fine. If you don't have any gesso, let's just use this. And it looks like this when we get done. It looks kind of like gesso, doesn't it? It'll work perfect. I'm going to set that right over to the side while that dries. And next, what you'll want to do is you'll want to get some fabric. You can get any type of fabric you want. I have this fabric, I have this fabric, and I have this that I've brought over. Isn't that pretty? So I am kind of going towards this one because it's different. Now you'll want to get yourself a piece of scratch paper, and you'll want to do what we did at school and fold it in half, and then draw yourself a little heart in the shape that you want, whatever type of heart shape that you want. If you want it big, if you want it little. You want one to be about this size, which is, let's see, from tip to point, it's 2.5. From here to this point right here, it's 2.5. And this smaller one here is from the it's not quite 2. From this point here to this point, it's not quite 2. So it fits in about like this. Okay, so we'll want to fold our material. We need to fold it in the inside facing each other. And then take your little heart, and you'll need to, I'm going to probably have to use a pen because this is darker material. And you're just going to trace it around like this. Well, that didn't come out very well at the top. I won't be able to see that. And I like to take a pin and just pin it so that when I cut it, it'll come out, even. Otherwise, mine wouldn't come out even. It would be kind of messed up. I'm sure of it. So I'll just get a pin before I even move it or do anything else, and just pin it. Now I'm going to cut these out, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, I've got them all cut out, and what I'd like to do next is I'd like to glue them on to some paper. Now, it doesn't have to be coffee dyed paper. It can be absolutely any kind of paper you want. But what we want to do is we want to get it glued on, and then we're going to trim around it so that basically that the the cloth heart is backed, so it's not just fabric. It will help give it stability when we get it on our tag. So I'm just going to do like this, and I'm going to put it right here on my paper. I'm going to press it out so there aren't any wrinkles. And I'm going to do the same with my smaller heart and get that done and set it to the side to dry. There we go. Now I'm just going to set that to the side to dry. Just put my arm in my glue. So now my shirt's going to have glue in it. Of course it is. Now, bring your little book page that we have painted with our acrylic paint, and we are going to go ahead and glue it onto a coffee dyed page. Or really, if you don't want it to be coffee dyed, you can glue it on whatever you want the back of your tag to be. I choose coffee dyed. So I'm going to get it right on here like this. And I'm going to smooth it out. There we go. And I'm going to trim it. Then the next thing I would like to do, actually while I'm trimming, I'm going to tell you about Cathy's Sewing Happiness. So what is Cathy's hashtag Cathy's Sewing Happiness all about? It's about helping me spread happiness. We have no idea what's going on in everyone's lives that we meet when we go out throughout the day. Easy as opening the door for someone who has large packages and can't get the door open, letting someone in a line of traffic, letting someone go ahead of us at the grocery store because they have one item and you have 20. Simple acts of kindness. It does not have to cost you anything to spread happiness. What you do then is at the bottom of this video, and yes, it does have to be this video because otherwise it will get lost and you won't get entered, because your act of kindness is your entry into the drawing on every Sunday that we have. And it will actually say in the little thumbnail, it will say hashtag Cathy Sewing Happiness. If you've entered into this week's Cathy Sewing Happiness, you need to check back next week to see if you've won. And so if you've entered, do please check back next week, because I'm going to need your address. And it's very simple, a couple steps that you need to do to send me your address. And then what do you get? You get Happy Mail from me. And I will send you Happy Mail, and that is my way of paying it forward for helping me spread happiness to others. All right, you guys. So now we've got our hearts cut out. We've got our words backed. Now you know how I like to sew. You do not have to sew. If you don't sew your things, this is where you can stop. You don't have to, well, not stop, but you can forget this step is what I'm trying to say. Oh my goodness, I love those colors. I'm going to sew around the book page. I'm going to sew around my heart. I'll be right back. I'll show you the next thing that we're going to do to jazz it up. All right, you guys, I've got this all sewn around. Now I'm going to take my vintage photo ink, and I am going to ink around the edge of my book page, and I'm actually also going to go around the edge of my hearts. So you may not need this dark color if you're working with pinks. Maybe you want to use the lighter colors that they have in inks. Whatever you choose, go ahead and ink around the edge. So almost finished here, just a little bit more. right here. I'm loving this print. It just looks so yummy. Now, we're going to put our larger heart down here at the bottom. So I'm going to grab my glue of my choice here. It happens to be the art glitter glue. And I'm just going to put it right here in the middle. Okay, press it down so it gets nice and stuck. Now I'm going to place the smaller one on the top, right here like this position. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, it does not have to be Valentine's Day for you to make one of these. These would look absolutely beautiful in a journal of any month of the year. It would look absolutely beautiful. Now, get yourself your smaller buttons in the colors that you're going with here. I have just chosen these colors because this is what would look good, I think, on here. So I'm just, I kind of like that. But maybe I want a little lighter color or a smaller one up here. Let's see, maybe this, or maybe this. Which way does that go? I think that does go that way. How about a yellowy one? That's kind of pretty. They're totally different, aren't they? I can't decide. Why can't I decide today? I don't know. It's an indecision day. Why do I have a problem deciding today? I don't know. I don't know. Just one of those days. I'm thinking I like that. So now what I'd like to do is bring in my thread, heavy thread, not real, not the type that you put through a needle and you hand sew, something heavier, like you could use even embroidery thread, just one of the pieces of the embroidery thread. And you're going to go through the holes of your button. These happen to be 4, and I'm leaving it long because it's just faster and easy for me to tie. If it's too short, I just have a hard time fiddling with it. I'm going to go through 2 of the holes and tie, and now I'm going to go through the other 2 holes across from each other, and I'm going to tie those just like this. Oh my goodness. There we go. Tie this. All right, now I'm going to cut it about the size of the button. So I use the button to just cut it the size of the button. And then I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to do this one off camera, and I'll be back and I'll show you how we connect them. All right, so now we've got our string through our holes in our buttons, and I am bringing in my E6000, and I'm going to use a toothpick, and I'm going to get a small amount and place it on the back of my button and push this button right in the middle of the heart, and do the exact same thing for the top button. Put the glue right in the middle, throw my toothpick away, and put it right in the middle. Now I am going to take a little bit of white school glue or Elmer's glue, and I'm going to put a little dot right on the knot, because as you work with your journal and you're pulling the tag in and out and years go by, it can get itself untied. Oh, you guys, I think that is just beautiful. And I made one earlier out of traditional pink, and I think that one's just as pretty. Oh, you guys, I love them. All right, now let's have our drawing. Let me bring in the fishbowl. Now I explained how you get in the fishbowl, where you put your act of kindness in the comments of this video, and then check back next week to see if you won Happy Mail from me. All righty, who has won? Oh, Ethel Taylor has won Happy Mail from me to you as my way of paying it forward. Oh, you guys, I've enjoyed being with you. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll see you there, guys. Bye now.